On our journey to Heriot Bay on a beautiful November day. I always enjoy the wind myself.
The Heriot Bay Inn Hotel is located on Quadra Island, which is just a short ferry ride from Campbell River. It takes about 3 hours to reach Campbell River from Victoria, which is in the south of the island. The region, now known as Campbell River, has a long First Nations history stretching back thousands of years. And so we would like to acknowledge that we're honoured to spend time on the traditional territories of the Wewake, the Wewakum and the Quaker First Nations. We're very lucky to be able to stay and investigate in this beautiful region. More recently, Campbell River was first visited and mapped by Europeans in the late 1700s, and by the 1860s there was a growing presence of European settlers due to the rich logging in the area. Today it's a thriving city with a population of around 36,000 people. The ferry takes about 8 minutes from Campbell River and docks at Quathiaski Cove. From there it's a short 10-minute drive to the hotel. Quadra Island itself is stunning and well worth a visit, not just for the ghosts. It's surrounded by the most beautiful coastline and is rich in history. The hotel has been and continues to be a focal point for the small community of Quadra Island, and for some, they appear not to want to leave once they've departed their physical life. The hotel has had many owners and is now in the hands of a group of investors called custodians. Their love of this beautiful old hotel is evident. From audio, video and photographic evidence to personal experiences, the investigations we've had have been wonderful, and we look forward to another opportunity to visit the hotel. Beyond Belief Paranormal Events is a Vancouver Island paranormal investigating team. We've been together for about 10 years, and our work is mainly focused on helping people who are experiencing the paranormal in their homes or work locations. However, several times a year we partner with local haunted locations to host paranormal investigation events, and we invite people to join us. In this video, we'll share with you some of the highlights of our November 2020 investigation.
So, there's so much history here. It's incredible. Jeanette Taylor has written a great book, Quadra Story, and in that she has a chapter on Heriot Bay Inn. And she's got so many more stories. She comes and gives talks sometimes, and every time she does, I learn something new. So I am not I don't have all of the stories, but the basic story, 1896, Mr. Bull and Cornelia, his wife at the time, purchased a lot of the property in Heriot Bay, actually, including this, all the way around the bay, I believe, and built the Heriot Bay Inn. The first one there, it was a bit of a lodge, more like a barn-shaped basic building, and it burnt down in 1910. And by 1910, I think Mr. Bull, I don't know the exact dates, but his first wife had passed away, and he had married a second wife named Helen. And Helen was quite a bit fancier than Cornelia, and so you can see in the photos that this building, when the first building burnt down in 1910, and the second building was built, it was quite kind of Victorian and quite a bit fancier. And that building burnt down in 1911. So it only lasted a year, and it was a beautiful, beautiful building. Yeah, the pictures just... It makes us want to actually do some of our renovations and bring some of that back. We've actually got some designs to bring some of that 1911 building back. It had terraces all around the bit upstairs, and just really beautiful character to it. So then the next building, which is this present building, which is the lounge and the offices and the gift store, and right down the center here, 1912. And in 1912 it had also an arm on it. It was an L-shaped. Though in the 40s, 30s or 40s, there was a family that purchased it, and just like we didn't want the in these days, they privatized it. So the community wasn't very happy about that. This was a place, like, it was the dock was if you look at pictures, it was a huge infrastructure for the ships to come in with all the, what do they call those, the freight ships that came in, and, you know, they delivered all the packages and all the mail and all the news and all the food and, well, probably all the booze. They delivered everything here, and so it was the center of town, always been the center of town since the very beginning. And so those few years when it was shut down and the people took off that wing, which was the dance hall, were not great years for this old place. But when they sold it to a woman, I believe, that wanted to start up a rooming house. And so this now pub part is an old store that we believe was, see it in old pictures, a little bit of it, just over on the other side of the ferry there, the Cortez Ferry. So the story is that the community all got together, as we still do, and when there's something really great happening, and they all pulled it and pushed it and rolled it over here, and they slammed it up against the building, and they all went dancing. And the thing is that I think it's a very true story because it wasn't connected very well. And when we took over, there was a lot of places in the floors that were not level. So when we were leveling out all the hallways upstairs, there's this quite a large dip between the buildings, and it's structurally sound, of course, but we left that dip, and I think I've told you about that and shown you that before, and people will see it when they go up there. It's the historical dip of the day that the Heriot Bay Inn came back.
Nice. And the rest is history.
And then the rest is history. The building part of it, for sure. There's been many owners. I've got a book with all the lists of the owners, and there's some years where there are no owners, and Jeanette can't find them, and there's no names on titles. So I'm still searching if anybody out there knows any history. We've met some owners that have come in. That the people that built this fireplace were here not too long ago, last year, and were telling us stories and lent us. They actually brought us back some photos that they had of theirs, which was really great. And we really appreciate that. Anybody that can bring old photos or old information, bring it on.
And then, of course, the ghosts. So many
Yes.
Stories and experiences of the, I don't know, residents, owners, whomever that still reside here. So can you tell us a bit about those?
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, there's definitely energy here. There's a lot of it, and we can feel it. I don't get to experience as much of it as I would like to. I've only had a couple of experiences where I felt truly it was definitely something outside of our regular world. And one of the first ones was, there was Paul, the other partner that we started it with, and we were just working in the front desk, and there was nobody in house. It must have been in January when it was pretty slow, and we all of a sudden could hear furniture moving upstairs. And it is an old building, and you can hear things through this old building. And definitely when there's people in the suite, you can hear them when they push their chair back. And it was quite noisy. And so we kind of looked at each other, and so we decided to go up and check it out, and we were halfway up the stairs, and I don't know why I was going first. In hindsight, when I was thinking about it, I think I was just charging up there. But I looked back and I said, "Are you sure we want to do this? Because you know if we get up there, it's going to stop. Because there's nobody up there. We know there's nobody up there. And we could still hear it." And so we decided not to disturb whoever it was. And there have been lots of stories, especially in the suite, of furniture moving. So I got to experience I don't know what I think she was doing. I think it is the elderly ghost, the woman that likes to move furniture around. There's been other stories about bar stools being moved. One time when a bartender was, at the end of the night, they went around and they were locking all the doors, and they had all the stools up, and when they came back, all the stools were down. And they were not fallen down like a domino. They were down. And that seems like an awful lot of weight for those energies to move around. So I'm not quite sure how that happens, but all the doors were locked, so nobody could have come in because they were locking the doors as they went. So, and then there's other stories too about the fellow that who resides here, that he was probably murdered, though every once in a while I get a story that he was the murderer. And from history, there was murders that happened around here, and there was definitely a story of two men fighting out on the lawn here, and one of them died, and that person was buried somewhere just across the road. And I think those stories are in Jeanette's book too. So maybe it could have been that one thing. That's a story that's come through in history, right. But no names of who the people were. You know, bar fights were a thing. They aren't so much anymore. They were still even a thing. So I had my first bartending job when I was 19 here, and there was bar fights every weekend in those days. And I can't tell you all the names of all the people that were fighting either, but nobody died. So, yeah, there's what else is there for stories?
You were talking about a little boy.
Oh yes, that was just recent. So somewhere down the line, every once in a while I do hear about a boy. And I haven't heard about it for a long time, but a woman, and I'm sorry I can't remember her name. She's from Courtney, and she actually wrote down the story because it filled her up so much of many different things that came to her. She's a person that's very, you know, like yourself, that's very sensitive and can feel the realness of it and the true stories. And she talked about a woman, and she described the woman, and then I showed her the photos of Helen, and she thought that's the person right there. So, and then she talked about this little boy that didn't see him for very long, but felt a very strong sense from him that he was up and just standing at the end of the hallway, and by room 12 there. Mm-hmm. So, and that, I haven't had a lot of stories and activity. I don't know what you guys find down there, but most of the stories are centered more around this area, like just at the top of the stairs and those rooms around there. So, I'm very curious about that little boy, if you find anything.
Room 12 has come to be an interesting room for our team. It didn't really have any ghost stories attached to it previously, and then one of our participants was looking up to the room from the outside. She saw a man drawing the curtains, and she didn't think much about it until she realised that the person who was staying in the room was female. When she mentioned what she'd saw, the participant reported that she had opened the curtains before leaving the room, and they'd been drawn when she returned. And if that isn't spooky enough, a little later she came to get us. When she'd gone back to her room, the bed looked as if somebody had been lying down. In fact, there was a perfect shape of a head still in the pillow. So now we always leave this room vacant, but we do put a camera in there. This year we decided to hold a vigil in the corridor. We took a ball to see if we could interact with the spirit of the little boy that Lois had told us about. One of the group, Sam, was sitting with her back to the wall of room 12. She could hear a man's voice murmuring in the room, although we didn't manage to record this.
So do you feel adult or child?
I don't feel child, no. And the whispering I was hearing was more, I think, more adult.
Male?
Yeah, I think so.
So the likelihood
Or it was almost like people talking behind the door, so it could have been more than one. Yeah!
The spirit working through the cat to move the ball. Yeah.
There we have it!
It's a miracle. It moved.
I gotta get this on camera.
You get that ball. Whoa. Soccer player.
Yeah, well, now it would be hard to hear anything.
Silly cat. Just trying to show the spirit how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all you need to do. Now you gotta defeat the cat from letting go of that ball.
It's the cat.
Come here.
The likelihood is, if it is an adult, they're not going to play with balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't feel like anything around the ball. I was feeling something on the other side of the door.
He's looking underneath.
Yeah.
Oh, something's in that room.
Yeah.
He's responding to the door.
we need a catch on the team.
What is it, Kit Kat?
I'm out of here. You guys are on your own now, humans.
I know.
Ready? Whatever you do, try not to point directly at the cams, because the lights will cause the camera to go crazy.
What?
You use drop cams.
Yeah.
Because the experiences that I've heard from people all describe this fellow the same, that he's fairly well built, fairly big, older, not old, like,
Yeah.
you know, on your
Mature.
way out, but yeah, on the way into elderness. And that he's got a big bushy beard, and usually has a hat on, so I wouldn't know about if it was
Right.
balding or not. But one of those big old canvas hats
Right.
that he wears. Yeah. The two times that he's been seen, 20 years, 30 years apart, maybe 40 years of stories apart, but same story. I don't think the second time that it was because the first time was heard, that he came in out of the rain, and it wasn't raining. He's soaking wet with this big canvas coat and hat on, and the bartender saw him and said, "I'll be right with you," and then put whatever it was away and looked back, and he was gone. And that was a story from when I was a bartender, when I first, it was one of the ghost stories that was told. And then recently it happened to one of our bartenders. So, and same description, exact description as the story that I heard. So, it you know, it's sometimes stories, old stories, especially with energies, I think they can morph and get bigger and brighter stories as they go along.
The fish becomes this big.
Exactly. But I feel like that one was, I felt it was real at the time, and it was very much closer to the time it was, and now it's 40 years later, and it's happened
And
again.
it's still happening.
So who knows how often, and maybe it's one of those repeat images, I don't know, but how often, or he comes in, how often does he come in? Of course, people don't see him. People aren't. Well, he's not seen as much as the gal is. So the gal's been seen all over the place, in all sorts of rooms. In this room, knitting a lot. I was talking to Blake yesterday about a woman in the pictures that's knitting, in the old pictures, and we don't. That's one woman that's not identified in those pictures. That's interesting. I never thought of that before. But the fellow is just those two stories, and that it's the first time I've heard of him being in a room, that your story there. But the housekeepers coming in early in the morning, many of our housekeepers over the years have felt him.
Right.
And felt him peeking in the door when they're cleaning the rooms, but never coming into the room.
Right.
But the energy flowing up and down that hallway, not over to 105, just the hallway.
Right, just that hallway there.
Yeah.
Room 105 consists of a bedroom, a living room, kitchen and upstairs accommodation, and it's known as the suite. This has been the focus of many paranormal experiences during our investigations. The first year we visited, myself and a fellow investigator, Maureen, we stayed in the suite. And after the first night's investigation, she was in the bedroom and I was upstairs. We'd just said goodnight and we were preparing to sleep when I heard a huge crash and then a cry. When I raced downstairs, the bed in the room, with Maureen still in it, had slid across the room. This ties into the stories that Lois shared about furniture moving in the suite. We've had many experiences in here over the years. This year we had some amazing activity, which we captured on video.
So if you're here, can you make a noise for us? Can we hear you in the room? We're asking for you to come forwards. I know we're in your space, but please, we're just here to talk to you.
Climb.
What was that?
Climb.
Climb. Have you gone upstairs?
If you can't audibly talk to us, you can talk to Dawn through that device there. If you touch it once for no, or touch it twice for
Like
yes.
this. Showing me going through, I don't know if it's a photo album or a newspaper.
The album says talent.
Is there something in the records that we can find out about you? How far back do we go?
Paranormal.
Something screwed by again.
Should we before the 50s?
Something's building up. So I feel like I'm getting exhausted, like something's draining me.
Really?
And I'm not used to that happening.
It suddenly got very cold over here.
I did invite to take her energy.
I'm getting 40s, 50s, not before then. Was this in the newspaper? What are you showing me? So emotional. Keep showing me something in a newspaper or a photo album, I'm not quite sure.
I think he failed to realize how important he was to his family.
I feel like I want to jump out of my skin.
Yeah. Just got that too. I just saw a shadow right there. Yeah, I don't think anyone walked by.
Something about an accident.
Stormy seas.
There was an accident.
I've had water, night, and wave come up recently.
It's weird. I'm getting like I could feel waves, like crashing waves.
I had something manifest in front of my face upstairs. It was like about that big.
White light.
No, well, it was sort of like a haze. It was like a, not solid. It was just like a cotton batting, or like it was just,
Ectoplasm is what it is.
but nothing, these never went off. And it was cold. And it was right in front of my face.
How long ago was that?
About
5 or 10 minutes.
5 minutes.
We did ask to go do something to you guys upstairs.
That's typically how ectoplasm shows and how it's described. Ectoplasm is a manifestation of energy, so it's starting getting into physical form.
See? He's lost. Why is he lost? The word right now is answer, and it's like got the solid black bar underneath, like it's a stronger word. Yeah.
I keep feeling like he's not doing anything with anything because he can't, his mind's not there because it's on how he feels. So like when we're asking him to do things, he can't
Just not
quite
computing.
Yeah.
But he keeps showing me this. It's like a paper or but it's big. So sometimes I think it's like a photo album, but it's big, a bit more like an old-fashioned newspaper. But when I've asked him to go back, I don't go. It doesn't go back pre-1940s, so kind of 1940s, 1950s.
Lindsay, can you just step one to the right or the left?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, you go back there now. I just wanted to see that shadow was you, not.
Oh, if it was me.
Yeah, there was I thought it
feel
was
like
a
it's
shadow
something to
standing
do
in
with
the
a woman.
entranceway there.
I was watching this camera when you guys were doing the voice box, and there was all kinds of flashes of light coming from behind, like, I don't know where it's shooting, but it was.
Oh, he's here.
He's been here all
He's trying to
along.
bring us back to focus.
He's been here all along.
It's like, don't forget me.
Oh.
Hello.
How can we help you? They're lost. You're not lost. They're lost. Who are they? Oh, don't touch my head.
You're trying to communicate with us through the what we call a REM pod there, what was making those beeps. Can you touch it again? Thank you. Now if you can touch it twice, let that be yes. One touch be no. Would you like to use that to communicate with us? Intense heart rate. Can you touch it again for it?
Is he the bearded young man that's missing in the pup?
He's bearded. He doesn't seem to be. He looks like he's in his 40s.
Hey, what was that just flew across?
The REM pod. He's touching it. He's here.
Did you lose your wife and your child? Was it your daughter?
One flash, no.
Ours? Was they in the accident?
I've actually never seen the REM pod be so gentle in that way.
It is. It's really gentle.
Like really light touch.
It's yeah.
You still with us? Can you touch it again? Touch the REM pod on the table that just made that beep. Zoe, you got all that on camera, right?
Come forward.
Is anybody upstairs? Do you guys hear that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a man's voice. Are we all down here?
Yeah, you can see that on the cameras. And it's funny because he stepped right back. Back forwards.
Is somebody upstairs? It's like a deep voice talking. Back.
Two men here?
That's what I
There, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he's Jesus being bullied by the other
God,
one.
that's not
I
bad.
think they're just talking.
I was getting some static in my ear. Like I felt like I was like hearing almost static from over here.
I thought I saw an orb in that camera
There.
go right across, right beside.
That's where I had seen it before.
Yeah, I saw it went right across, and it looked like it went like into you. That's why I turned around and asked you.
Well, there's a double
Hey,
scoop for
got
you.
a two.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you not like him up there?
That's a double negative question.
Yeah, this is a hard one.
Hard one to answer.
Do you like the man that's upstairs? The other spirit that's here? He doesn't like me, he wants to talk to you.
Is there two of you in this space right now? Two men,
What do you mean by this space?
where we are
Yes.
in this suite.
Yeah, in the suite. One is upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
One
correct?
is
Is there one
downstairs.
upstairs right now? Can you touch that to let us know he is upstairs, separate from you? Thank you. Was that him? We heard his voice? Thank you. Does he want us here?
He's forgetting to yes. Those are all those. Nodding her nose.
It just said laugh after you laughed.
He's squishing my head.
I did ask him to go and do that to somebody else.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
It's getting busier.
Yes.
Are you building up your energy?
It's actually getting really warm as well.
See, I feel I'm getting cold.
I am boiling.
I'm
My
freezing.
hands are frozen.
I'm like burning up. And it's not a
They've
hot
gone
flash.
cold and clammy.
Oh, ringing in my ears.
Did you kill yourself?
Not like you.
Or maybe he just doesn't want to.
Were you murdered by someone? Is that 2 for yes?
There's two.
Mommy.
Well, that's creepy.
That's the second time Mommy's come up.
It is creepy, you're right.
That was one beat.
What was that no here?
A no.
Did you drown?
No.
Were you shot?
Is that the accident with your family?
No.
Was it a car?
2?
Yes.
3?
Is that how you lost your wife and your daughter?
No.
Yes.
2. 3, yeah.
I'm so sorry about that. I can't imagine how that would feel. Was it in the newspaper? Is that what you were showing me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything that we can do to help you?
Doesn't know.
Thank you. If you took your own life, are you...
2, yes. Doesn't know.
The question I was asking was, if you took your own life, are you frightened to go to heaven, quote unquote?
Descend.
No.
That was so relevant.
Thinks he's going to hell.
You know, that's not how it works. Not at all. If you lost your wife and your daughter, they are waiting for you.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
No. Yes, yes. He's getting excited.
Well, I'm asking questions in my head and he's answering them on here, which is interesting. Are you ready to let go of your hold on this space? Would you like me to help you to make your transition?
Oh, yeah, that's lots of beeps. That's 2. And more.
I want you to step very, very close to me now. Step into my energy field. If I can ask everybody in the room to hold love in your heart towards this man.
Memories.
Come close.
Intense apprehension.
Can you see a doorway that's opened up for you?
The last couple of things have been memories of Aunt Pat, and now it's saying uncle.
If you have loved ones, they'll be there for you. don't be distracted by that.
He's right on it. Yeah.
Focus on me. I can't get him.
Stepped away from the REM pod. Nope.
If you're not ready to leave, just let me know. And if you are, I need you to focus on me. Thank you.
Is he being held back as that other presence here?
No.
He's no longer on the REM pod, which is good.
Return. Yes, return. Doorway's opened up. You can go through. There's Bo again. Oh, he's on the cusp.
Yes.
Hello, you're almost there.
Yeah.
Back to me, back to me, back to me. I lost him again. If you're not ready to go, that's okay. We're not going to force you. I need a circle. Elena, I need you there. Diana, I need you. I need a circle for him. So you come here, Diana. We need to get him in there. Hold on. Good. You were to sit down there. Give you that. Sorry, I'm spoiling her. But I need to with Elena. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we can touch.
Just so for some of you who've never seen a REM pod work, this very rarely happens. I've never seen it act this way, in this manner before.
So we've gone in the circle. Run. You can run. The doorway's there waiting for you.
have an intense pressure on my forehead.
Okay, now? That's the other one trying to interfere. That's what they're running. It's like he's popping in and out.
Just like it's
That's what I'm seeing.
exactly
'Cause I think that he's gone and then he's back.
Okay.
I visited the Heriot Bay Inn with my husband about 8 years ago and used the ladies' room. And while I was in the cubicle, the toilet tissue roll slowly unwound and fed out about 3 feet of toilet paper for me, I guess. And yeah, it startled me a little bit, and after I left the restroom, I told my husband about it, and the bartender. And the bartender did not seem shocked at all. I think there's been other people who have had encounters perhaps in that washroom, and maybe even she had had some episode or something happen in there. So I wanted, as soon as I heard there was going to be an investigation at the Heriot Bay, and I signed up as quickly as I could. So I just wanted to find out a little bit more about this old place and why I had that experience in the bathroom. Over the last, I'd say 36 hours in this building, there's been more things that have no reasonable explanation that I've encountered in this hotel, and I feel like I've got a little bit more of a hands-on knowledge of just the history of the people who've passed through this building, and who've been kind enough and generous enough to reach out to us when we've asked them and talked to them. And I've had a couple of really close encounters, one that occurred in my bed last night, and you know, I didn't have many doubts about life after death or spirit, and this has just reaffirmed many of the other unexplained activities that have happened in my life that I've taken notice of, but probably many other people have had experiences that they may not take notice of, and this just, I think, creates an awareness, and you know, I think if we open ourselves up, I think we have more psychic ability, more intuitive abilities than what we realize. So I'm finding that out about myself, and I'm really, really glad I was able to come, and especially with this group. I like the group. I think everybody's in it for the right reason.
Excellent.
And yeah, happy to be here.
So the last question is, why should people come to the Heriot Bay Inn Hotel?
Oh my gosh. Well, for the heart and soul. It's a pretty authentic experience. We're still, I think we might be one of the last places that still has, you know, things on the walls that have been here forever, and you know, the decor has evolved through the years. It's not a, oh, here we have an inn, let's make it an inn decor. Everything has come together piece by piece, and that's what makes I think that's what makes it feel like home. Yeah, like these lanterns, they were made and put in the 70s, and a couple of years ago, this guy came in and he said, I can't believe those lanterns are still here. He said, I made those lanterns for this room in 1970 something. So I got a picture of him with the lanterns to come. So when you want to go to a community and you want to experience that community, this is a place to come, because you will experience it. You will get, I will warn you, and you will get a lot of characters, but it's very colorful, and now with COVID, the character has gone a lot. Having people to stay in their tables of 6, and we are abiding by all of the guidelines, as you know. But by doing that and abiding by those guidelines, it has taken some of the people character away, which the place itself is amazing, but the people that live here and the community that serves you when you come here, nothing better. Yeah.
Lovely. Nice way to end it. Thank you.
Yeah.